Sup everyone, I'm your female otaku, and I'm here to talk about the cartoons of 2020. Specifically, of course, the Western cartoons. Anime is gonna be separate. This year I rebranded and I implemented Western cartoons to the channel. I've only made 3 videos on it, but they've all done super well. So thank you guys so much for supporting me when it comes to talking about Western animation. I absolutely love it. Obviously, you know, I grew up with it and everything. It's good stuff, good for the soul. And we seem to be in some sort of a TV Western animation renaissance, honestly, because we keep on getting, honestly, hit after hit, like mega impactful cartoons. This year alone we have Steven Universe Future, which I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on this, but I like Future more than the series. While it is an epilogue, it focuses more on Steven becoming human rather than becoming a gem. I'm probably biased because I ended up picking up Steven Universe Future during a time when I needed it most. Family situation was awful, my mental health was deteriorating fast. And the same thing was happening to Steven. It directly spoke about mental health and taking care of your past trauma and your anxieties. And in the end, he ends up seeing a therapist. I'm just like, huh? I ended up following in Steven's footsteps and now I'm a-okay as well. Life could be better, but you know what? We still hanging in there. You know, it's still 2020 by the time I'm recording this. It's not like 2021 is looking any better either. I thought it was a really nice way to end the series. Of course, I would have wanted more, and there were a couple of things that weren't really tied up all together, like obviously the main thing being the treasure chest inside Lion. Why is it suddenly open? What was in the treasure chest? We will never know. A couple other things here and there too, but still, I absolutely adore Steven Universe, and I love Steven Universe Future to pieces. Adventure Time Distant Lands. Didn't expect this one, guys. With Distant Lands, there are only 2 episodes out thus far, one more focusing on BMO, and it's a prequel to Adventure Time. And then we have Obsidian, which focuses more on Marceline and Bubblegum, and that takes place after the main Adventure Time series. And oh my gosh, man, freaking... I love them so much, and honestly, that I thought was a really well done episode. It just focused more on not just their relationship, but also Marceline's past, and we got to finally find out like why they broke up in the first place, and just everything's good. Everything's good and tied up with them, and I just thought it was just an overall really well done episode. Just bravo with that. Harley Quinn season 1 ended this year, but we only had to wait roughly like 6 weeks for season 2 to premiere, which was even better than the first. Harley Quinn is a really well done adult cartoon, and it's honestly an adult cartoon that we really need in Western animation, because this is not an episodic cartoon. It actually has an ongoing plot. And it's not like you gotta skip an episode because it seems boring to you. Like, no, everything is important. It's a very linear storyline, and I love that. We don't have that in Western adult cartoons. It's absolutely hilarious. The voice actors are all fan-freaking-tastic. I love how they deliver their lines, especially Psycho and Ivy. Those two knock me out every single time. The animation never dips. The action is so cool. There's action with every single episode as well. I love it. I love this show, and it's confirmed for a season 3, so I cannot wait for that. Also, more lesbians. The Midnight Gospel was quite the controversial cartoon that came out in around May, April of this year. Done by the original creator of Adventure Time, it's a weird... how do I want to describe this? I was gonna say industrial, but I guess it's more like experimental type cartoon, because it's an adaptation of a podcast, which is very unique. But the podcast is an hour and a half, and they condensed it into like 23 minutes. A lot of people found it to be more preachy, but I personally thought that it was more of an insight into other people's lives as we follow Clancy as he interviews a bunch of these virtual characters in this whole virtual reality. At times it can feel very surreal, but like I said, it is adapted from a podcast, and in the podcast they are interviewing real people who all have such incredibly different lives, which is why I found it to be very interesting and more of an insight rather than, hey, magic exists, believe in it. Instead, I'm just here sitting like, huh, That's an interesting way to look at life. It's not my way to look at life, but I thought it was fascinating nonetheless. We cannot talk about 2020 cartoons without talking about the Owl House. While it's likely that season 2 isn't going to come out anytime soon and that the episodes will most likely come out at random, season 1 was just whoa. We have a Hispanic main character, already love it. Witches, and we all know how popular witches are today. Also me being a huge fangirl of witches. It also has a bit of a give no fucks attitude, which I adore. And the world is absolutely fascinating. I think one of the main reasons why a lot of us enjoy the Owl House is because of how huge and immersed and just creative this world is. It's not just a simple demons and witches. There's a lot of lore to it. You have the weird and creepy Bat Queen, their own version of Hogwarts, which isn't quite like Hogwarts. There's many more rules to it, but still, it's something that we're familiar with that has been expanded upon. The animation never dips, and it also excels when it needs to, and oh my god, when it excels, your jaw hits the floor. We have no clue when season 2 is going to come out, but I cannot wait. You all know I have to talk about this because I'm one of the biggest Infinity Train stans. Book 2 and Book 3 both came out this year. Book 2 airing on Cartoon Network while Book 3 streamed on HBO Max, and it's now an HBO Max original. With Book 2, we learn that this is more of an anthology series as we get to follow new characters each and every single book while discovering more about the world of the Infinity Train. Season 1 already stunned us with how mature it handled a child going through a divorce, while also giving us an amazing, fantastical world with a very good mystery that still needs to be unfolded. Not too much is revealed each season, but enough to satisfy us, but still coming back to want more. Book 3 is without a doubt the best book thus far, and honestly makes me believe that this is one of the greatest cartoons ever. I don't care what you say. I do not care. I put it up there with Gravity Falls and Teen Titans. I made a whole video on Book 3 if you are interested, but it does have spoilers. But if you did check out Book 3, then do please watch the video. The link will be in the description. Another cartoon that unfortunately came and went this year was We Bare Bears. After the movie came out, it was confirmed that that would conclude the main story of We Bare Bears, followed by the announcement of a prequel with the We Bare Bears as little babies. I think it's called Baby Bears. I forgot what the name was called, but the animation is a lot more vibrant and kind of chibi-like too. It's very cutesy, but I love my bears. I can't wait for this to come out. And also the fact that when they're babies, that means we're thrown back into the 90s. And I love that. I'm gonna miss my bears though. I love them. The movie was fun. I was laughing my ass off throughout that film, but man, We Bare Bears is just a personal favorite of mine. It's definitely not one of the greatest cartoons ever, but like when it comes to me listing my favorite cartoons, We Bare Bears is definitely on there. I'm getting a little teary-eyed now. I'm sorry. A little late into the game, but Ruby Volume 8 is absolutely fire right now. Of course, we started off the year with the continuation of Volume 7, which, you know, had quite a bit of controversies. Let's not talk about that one fight between Crow and Clover and that scorpion dude. Ruby has definitely changed a lot over the years, and a lot of people have dropped it because of that, but the plot is still going. It's not like we haven't learned anything since Volume 3. I'm having a blast with it, and I really hope you continue it if you haven't already. Rick and Morty Season 4 continued this year, with the first half of the series airing last year and the latter half airing in like May-ish. Also by the same creator, we have Solar Opposites, which I was super surprised with. I didn't expect anything from Solar Opposites. I watched the trailer and it seemed stupid, but then I watched it and I was very impressed. It's nothing like Rick and Morty. It is its own thing and it is just so funny. There wasn't a single episode that I disliked. Each and every single scenario was hilarious to me. I love the characters. They're all a bunch of assholes. And the animation's great as always. We even get a couple of fight scenes here and there, which are super gory to the max. And we even get a reverse gore scene, which I thought was really creative. Also, Terry is literally the best character. I don't care what you say, Terry is the best. And we can't forget that overall plot line when it came to The Wall. Now that's a storyline I'm looking forward to seeing more of. She-Ra ended this year. Wow, that's wild. She-Ra ended with a very impactful ending that still has fans today wanting at least a film. But it was very well done. Everything came together super clean, and I adored it. And finally, after so many years of waiting and delays, we have Close Enough. Close Enough, man. Wow. It took long enough, Jesus Christ. Close Enough is now also an HBO Max original, and we found out that some of the episodes, well, most of the episodes were cut in half. Skits that were supposed to be a full episode ended up becoming 11 minutes, while combined with another skit that was also cut in half and combined into 11 minutes, thus making a very choppy 23-minute episode, besides the finale, which was one full cohesive episode. I do believe this is going to be changed in the future. I really enjoyed it despite the obvious issues. I found the characters to be really lovable, and I did like the scenarios that they got into. Let's face it, guys, it's the regular show adult spin-off that we deserve. Real quick, I forgot to mention the Animaniacs reboot/sequel and Hell of a Boss. Last year, Hell of a Boss premiered with its pilot shortly after Has Been Hotel, but this year we got the first 2 episodes. I didn't really care so much for episode 1, and I wasn't even a big fan of the pilot, but episode 2 really surprised me. If things continue to go on like episode 2, where we get to learn more about the characters rather than just see some wacky scenario, then I think it's going to turn out into a really good series. And I also think it's just very well done animation-wise. I love the art style, I love how fluid it is, and to think that this is all available for free on YouTube is kind of amazing. As for the Animaniacs reboot, it is so funny. I truly never thought we would ever see Animaniacs come back. By the time the original series ended, I was 1 year old, so I grew up with the reruns. It was funny back then, and it's even funnier now, to be honest. The best part of the series is the songs, without a doubt. I've literally paused the episode so many times from crying because I'm laughing so hard. And that's basically all I watched in regards to 2020 televised cartoons. Also streaming, but I wanted to leave movies out of this. Let's just ignore the fact that I spoke about the We Bare Bears film, okay? I didn't watch everything this year, obviously. You may have noticed that I didn't talk about Amphibia Season 2 or Craig of the Creek. I think BoJack Horseman ended this year. I know I'm gonna get a lot of dislikes for not talking about BoJack Horseman, but I've said it before, I couldn't get into it, man. But let me know your thoughts on the overall year of 2020 in regards to Western animation. What sequels are you looking forward to? Also, the new 2021 cartoons, like freaking, at long last, we're finally getting Bee and Puppy Cat, Lazy in Space. Oh my god. Also, that new cartoon by the guy who freaking, oh, his name escapes me, but he's the one who did Symbiotic Titan and Samurai Jack. Come on, what was his name? I'm gonna kick myself in the face for this later, I just know it. It's Tartakovsky, right? But I do want to give a very special shout out to Sarah Hogan for donating to my Patreon. If you'd like a very special shout out in the next video, stream, or what have you, then please click on the Patreon link in the description to donate, as well as links to my social media. I also just recently started a Twitch, so make sure you check me out on Twitch, as I will be streaming read-throughs of Jujutsu Kaisen, Lore Olympus, as well as streaming some FGO and a possible bi-monthly anime chatty podcast. I'm your female otaku. Sayonara.